For this dessert, you will first need to roast spaghetti squash. The easiest way to do so is to trim off both ends of the squash and then cut it in halves. Scoop out all the seeds and the stringy squash around them. You can roast the seeds in your oven and use them as a healthy snack. They are full of nutrients and healthy fats. Now drizzle the halves of this spaghetti squash with olive oil, season them with salt, and lay them skin side up on a baking tray laid with parchment paper. Bake it on 200 degrees for 1 hour, depending on the size of your squash. Once it's cooked, take a fork and shred the squash. It starts to pull away these very thin spaghetti-like strands. And once you're done, you have the base for our baking. For this sweet spaghetti squash dessert, we will need 1 smaller cooked spaghetti squash or half of a big one, 400 grams of spelt flour, 150 grams of cane sugar, 180 grams of coconut oil or any oil that you prefer, or butter, 3 eggs, 1 baking powder, a spoonful of vanilla sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon and a pinch of salt, and a handful of walnuts or raisins, depends on what you like. First, separate the egg whites from the yolks. Whip the yolks together with the sugar and coconut oil for a couple of minutes, and meanwhile chop the walnuts into smaller pieces. Grease and flour a cake pan in which you will bake your cake. It will make it easier to get the cake out when serving. Into the mixture, add the shredded spaghetti squash, flour and spices and baking powder and mix well. Finally, add the walnuts and raisins. Now it's time to whip the egg whites and fold them into the batter. You will notice that the batter will become lighter and it will rise nicely. Spread the final mixture onto the baking tray or pan and bake for 45 minutes on 180 degrees Celsius or until it turns golden. You can also bake muffins with this batter. Serve after it cools down with a cup of coffee or tea. Enjoy!